I was sitting on the edge of our bed, still in my dusty work clothes from a 12-hour shift at the construction site, when my wife Kendra stood in the doorway with her arms crossed. Her eyes were cold, distant, like I was some stranger who had wandered into her space. Then she said it clear and sharp as broken glass. "I'm not sleeping with you anymore, Garrett. Deal with it. No explanation, no emotion. Any of you way. Accedation. Anyway. Accedation. Anyway. Accedation. Anyway. 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 Anyway." Just those words hanging in the air between us like a death sentence for our marriage. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I just nodded, watching her turn and walk away. I didn't know it then, but that single moment would change everything. The silence that followed was more terrifying than any argument we could have had. Something had broken, and I could feel the pieces cutting into my chest with every breath. Before I tell you what happened next, let me ask you something. Where are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you have ever felt invisible in your own marriage, if you have ever been told to just deal with mistreatment, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel because this story gets a whole lot more intense, and trust me, you will want to see how it ends. What I did next was not revenge. It was not me losing my mind or doing something crazy. It was simply self-respect. It was me deciding that I deserved better than being treated like I was nothing. So stick around, because what happened when I started choosing myself left my wife absolutely speechless. Let me take you back to where it all started to fall apart. Kendra and I got married 6 years ago. We were both 27, young and stupid in love, or at least I thought we were. We met at a rock concert in Denver. Both of us screaming lyrics we barely knew, laughing at how terrible we sounded. She was a marketing coordinator back then, ambitious but grounded. I was a construction supervisor working long hours but proud of what I built. Those first 3 years were good. Really good. We cooked dinner together on weekends, her making pasta, while I handled the garlic bread. We went hiking in the Rockies every other Sunday, just us in the mountains. Friday nights meant movie marathons on our old couch with popcorn and cheap wine. We bought a house in the suburbs with a 30-year mortgage that felt like a mountain to climb, but we were doing it together. We talked about kids someday, maybe, when our careers were more stable, when we had more saved up. Life felt like it was going somewhere. Then, about 8 months before that night, she told me to deal with it. Things started to shift. Kendra got promoted to senior marketing manager. I was proud of her. I told her that every day. But the promotion came with a new boss, Dylan. He was in his early 40s, divorced, drove a black Tesla, and wore suits that probably cost more than my monthly paycheck. Suddenly, Kendra started coming home later and later. "Dylan needs me to finish this presentation," she would say, barely looking up from her phone. Weekends became work days. "Big client meeting Monday, babe. I have to go in." She started hitting the gym 5 days a week, spending $89 a month on a membership she never had time for before. New clothes appeared in her closet every week. She got balayage highlights at some fancy salon for $250. Her nails were always perfectly done with gel polish every 2 weeks. She looked amazing, honestly, but it felt like she was dressing up for someone else. At first, I supported it all. "I'm proud of you, Ken. You're killing it at work," I told her. But inside, I was starting to feel like a ghost in my own home. Our dinner dates went from every week to maybe twice a month. When we did eat together, she spent half the time on her phone, laughing at messages, then locking the screen the second I walked by. I tried to ignore the red flags. "She's just stressed with the promotion," I told myself. "She'll settle in soon." But she never did. The distance just kept growing like a crack in concrete that gets wider every time it rains. About 3 months before that awful declaration, things got worse in a way I didn't want to admit. The physical intimacy we used to have just disappeared. It started slow. One night I reached for her and she said, "I'm exhausted, Garrett." "Not tonight." Fair enough. The next week, same thing. Can you not? I have a headache. The third time I tried, she actually snapped at me. I'm not in the mood. Give me some space. Our frequency went from 2 or 3 times a week to once a month, then nothing at all. I felt rejected in a way that cut deeper than any argument could. I tried to do something special to reconnect. I cooked her favorite pasta carbonara from scratch, set the table with candles, the whole deal. She ate maybe 3 bites. I'm watching my carbs, she said, pushing the plate away. I bought roses on a Friday night, walked in with them behind my back like some romantic movie scene. Her response: "You don't have to try so hard. It's awkward." I even booked us a weekend getaway to a mountain cabin, thinking maybe we just needed time away from work stress. 2 days before we were supposed to leave, she canceled. Dylan scheduled an emergency strategy session, she said, not even apologizing. I felt like a stranger living in my own house. Our conversations became painful in their emptiness. How was work? I would ask. Fine, she would answer. Want to watch that new show? Everyone's talking about. I'm tired. Is everything okay between us? Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Every single interaction felt like pulling teeth, and I was running out of hope that things would get better. Then came that Thursday evening. I got home around 7 at night, bone-tired from overseeing the apartment complex project. My back ached, my hands were rough from handling materials all day, and all I wanted was to sit down with my wife and feel like I mattered to someone. Kendra was in the bedroom, changing after her gym session. I walked in and sat down on the edge of our bed, gathering courage to try one more time to talk about us. She turned around, and the look on her face was pure annoyance. What she asked, like I was interrupting something important. I took a breath. Ken, we need to talk. I feel like we're roommates, not married. I miss you. I miss us. She let out this long, irritated sigh. Here we go again. I kept trying. I just want us to reconnect. Maybe we could go to counseling, or just spend more time together without phones or work talk. Can we try? She cut me off before I could finish. I'm not sleeping with you anymore, Garrett. Deal with it. She stood there with her hand on her hip, eyes challenging me to argue like she wanted me to fight so she could justify whatever she was feeling. But I didn't give her that. I just sat there, feeling like someone had slapped me across the face with the truth of how little I meant to her now. She walked out of the room, leaving me alone in the silence. That night, I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat there on our bed, staring at the wall, wondering when exactly my wife had stopped seeing me as her husband and started seeing me as an obstacle to whatever life she wanted instead. The first week after Kendra told me to deal with it was strange in the worst way. I moved my stuff to the living room couch. I couldn't sleep in that bed anymore, not after those words. Kendra didn't ask why I was sleeping on the couch. She didn't seem to care at all. Every morning she would wake up early, spend an hour on her makeup, and put on work outfits that seemed more revealing than they used to be. There was no breakfast made for 2 anymore, no coffee poured for me like there used to be. She would grab her purse, walk past me without a word, and say, "Bye," over her shoulder. No, I love you. No, goodbye kiss. Just gone. At night she came home late, usually around 10 or 11. I would be lying on that couch pretending to watch television, listening for her car in the driveway. The garage door would open-close. Her footsteps would move through the kitchen, up the stairs, and into the bedroom. The door would shut. Not once did she ask if I had eaten dinner or how my day went. I felt like a ghost haunting my own house. Tuesday of the following week, I came home early around 5:30 in the evening. The project got delayed because of heavy rain, so my crew was sent home. Kendra was not back yet. I decided to clean up a bit, vacuum the carpets, wipe down the dining table, anything to keep my mind busy. That is when I saw it. Her laptop was sitting open on the dining room table. Normally, I would never snoop. It went against everything I believed about trust and privacy. But something in my gut told me to look. The screen was lit up showing her Messages app. I could see a notification preview without even unlocking the device. The name at the top read Dylan with a briefcase emoji next to it. My heart started pounding. The preview messages were right there on the lock screen. Last night was incredible. Lock screen. Can't wait for Friday from Dylan. And her response below it, me too. He won't suspect anything. The words hit me like a truck, going 70 miles an hour. My hands started shaking. I pulled out my phone and took a picture of the screen. My fingers trembling so badly I almost dropped it. Then I heard her car pulling into the garage. Panic shot through me. I quickly moved away from the laptop, put it back exactly where it was, and rushed upstairs to the bedroom. I closed the door and sat down on the floor, my back against the wall, trying to breathe. My chest felt tight, like someone was squeezing my lungs. I heard her come inside, heard her moving around downstairs. I just sat there staring at the photo on my phone, reading those words over and over until they burned into my brain. The next morning I didn't confront her. I needed more than just a text preview. I needed to be smart about this. I watched her closely at breakfast, which she barely acknowledged I was part of. She sat at the kitchen counter, typing on her phone, smiling at the screen. "Who's that?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "Just work stuff," she said, without looking up. But I saw the name, Dylan. During my lunch break at work, I logged into our shared bank account, online. What I found made my stomach turn. There were charges I didn't recognize. Dinner at an upscale Italian restaurant downtown, a place we had never been to together. $185. A hotel charge in the downtown area, $275. A purchase at a lingerie store for $93. I had never seen that lingerie. All of these transactions happened over the past 3 months. She was spending our money on her affair. I felt sick. The betrayal was not just emotional anymore. It was financial, calculated, deliberate. Every dollar she spent with him was a dollar stolen from the life we were supposed to be building together. I needed advice, so I called Marcus. He had been my best friend since college, and now he worked as a divorce attorney. We met at a coffee shop after work, that Thursday. I told him everything: the coldness, the declaration, the text messages, the bank statements. Marcus listened with his lawyer face on, serious and focused. When I finished, he leaned back in his chair and said, "Garrett, I'm sorry, man, but you need to act smart, not emotional." He gave me a plan. Gather more evidence of the affair. Don't let Kendra know I was onto her. Prepare financially by opening a separate bank account and moving half of our savings into it. Document everything with photos, screenshots, transaction records. He explained that Colorado is a no-fault divorce state, but adultery can still impact property settlements and alimony decisions. "You need to protect yourself," Marcus said. "She made her choice. Now you make yours." I nodded, feeling something shift inside me. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was determined. Friday night was the turning point. Kendra told me she had a late meeting. I told her I was going out for drinks with some coworkers, which was a lie. Instead, I followed her. I kept my distance, staying a few cars back, feeling like I was in some terrible movie. She didn't drive to her office. She drove to a boutique hotel in Cherry Creek, one of the nicer areas in Denver. I parked far away and watched her get out of her car. She checked her reflection in the car window, fixed her hair, and walked into the lobby. 10 minutes later, Dylan's black Tesla pulled up. He got out wearing jeans and a casual jacket, looking relaxed, like this was routine for them. I took photos on my phone, my hands steadier now than they had been days before. I watched them hug in the lobby, watched them laugh like they didn't have a care in the world, watched them step into the elevator together. I sat in my truck for over an hour, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I didn't cry. I was past crying. When Kendra finally walked back out, her hair was messy, her smile was wide, and she looked happier than I had seen her in months. She got in her car and drove away, probably heading home to the husband she had just betrayed. I sat there in the parking lot, staring at the hotel entrance, and felt the last piece of my love for her die. But something else was born in that moment. A resolve. A decision. I was done being the man who just dealt with it. The next 2 weeks were the strangest of my life. I acted like everything was normal, or at least as normal as things had been. I didn't ask Kendra about Dylan. I didn't start fights. I was polite, distant, cold in a way that I had never been before. And you know what? She didn't even notice. She was too wrapped up in her secret life to see that I had changed. While she was busy texting Dylan and planning her next hotel visit, I was building a case. I worked closely with Marcus. We hired a private investigator who followed Kendra and Dylan for a week. The PI came back with a thick folder of photos. Kendra and Dylan having dinner at expensive restaurants. Kendra and Dylan walking hand in hand through a park. Kendra and Dylan entering hotels together. It was all there, clear as day, no room for doubt or excuses. I opened a separate bank account, at a different branch, and transferred $35,000 into it. That was half of our combined savings.